little sneaky peeky now. I've wanted to use a PARD for absolutely ages. So this is the 008 with the new laser rangefinder on it. I've tested it on airgun, I've just zeroed it on the Set 22 centerfire. This is on a Savage 110 Apex. So hopefully, snow notwithstanding, I'm going to be out in the next few nights and we're going to see if we can get some foxes with this. So I'm looking forward to trying it. I have had it out with me when I've been using other scopes and I've been quite impressed with the image quality so far. It's just a case of getting used to the different buttons, the different control features, and having a go with the lens focusing and elements like that. So stay with me, like it, subscribe, comment on it, and we'll see if we can get a full review out there for you. Thanks for watching, bye for now. Hello and welcome to Chris Parkin Shooting Sports. Today we've got a brief review with a lot of footage in use of the PARD NV008 PLRF night vision scope. I hope you like watching. I hope we're going to get some more details. Please like, subscribe, put as many comments down as you like and I'll try and answer them. Details I can't put in the video, I'll maybe put in the descriptions column as well. So keep your eye on all those things. The scope's got its own onboard illuminator. This is good for about 100 meters in my findings, so perhaps best used on 22 and 17 HMR. Here's the LRF unit on the side. This pings out a laser beam and you can actually see it in the picture in night vision. This comes back and gives you a return range in either yards or meters. Under this little cap on the side, it's got a USB charging port. You can also run it an additional power supply into that charging port. That goes in there, and here is a micro SD card for your stills and video footage. Just to note, sound is recorded in all circumstances, but unless you take this cap off, it doesn't seem to pick up voice normally. With the cap on, you'll pick up the gun loading and all sorts of clicks and button presses on the unit, but you won't pick up distant noise, the bullet striking the target or people talking in the background. It's got a screwdriver slot where you can use it with a coin. It is going to get a little bit marked and scratched, but that's life, hey. You can replace the battery underneath this cap. This powers both the night vision unit and the illuminator. Now it says it's an 18650 battery, but that is not the same size as an 18650 battery. And some research has led me to believe it's something called a 16650, but there's definitely some variety on those. You can buy these, but it is not an 18650. Just for a clear comparison, that is an 18650 battery. There's a rubber bellows on the back to keep any extraneous light from interrupting your image, and there's a small air vent on here to try and reduce condensation. This, if necessary, can be removed, but it's got a glued joint, so if you take it off, it won't look great when you put it back on, unless you re-glue it. Internal screen focus is set here. It's a good screen, it's not too fisheye, and that's easy to adjust. You should only need to do that once and then it's set up for long-term use. Power on is this button on the side. It turns on in a few seconds. A short press turns the internal screen off, and then a long hold shuts the unit down completely. Here on the side you can see a short Picatinny mount for an additional illuminator. The only thing is, if you put an illuminator on here, it does block access to these buttons, and these buttons are on the left side. So for a left-handed shooter, you would have to reach over the top to operate things. Image focus at distance is controlled by this collar here. Again, it's a very right-handed scope, so this is operable mainly by the left hand. If you're a left-handed shooter from the other side of the gun, you would have to reach over and operate from there, because from here you're blocking the LRF and the illuminator. Long range is there beyond about 100 meters. Shorter ranges it brings down to here. As you can see, I've added an additional illuminator on the Picatinny rail of the rifle in front of the scope. The PARD itself has a multi-position Picatinny mount, and it's got good extension on it, so you're not messing about trying to get eye relief. You're not reaching into the rifle too much. It's bolt action rifle based, and it's not totally restricted to ARs like some sights can be. The fasteners are all hard steel and good quality aluminium. I've not noticed any kind of soft mushy feel when tightening anything down, and return to zero has been excellent. There are multiple positions on the PARD for the scope to fit. That means you don't get problems with eye relief, and it's also not too high profile above the rifle, so you can maintain a normal head position on the cheek piece. Button press in operation, the buttons are quite small and they're angled on this surface. If you're wearing gloves, you will have to feel carefully to make sure you're using the right one, and they're 1, 2, 3, 4 from the front. Starting at the back on number 4, holding this one down takes you into the long menu structure for zeroing, reticle choice, things like that. There are 5 reticle choices and 2 reticle colours. Zeroing uses a freeze frame capability, and I have to say in daylight it's been no problem at all. A long hold on the IR mode button swaps from black and white night footage to full daytime footage. You can set up in the initial menu to make sure that the PARD will power on in your preferred choice, but you can swap at any time. Once it's in black and white night vision mode, brief presses on this button change the illuminator strength. Adjusting this collar here changes the size of the spot at which the illuminator works. I think it's restricted to about 100 meters, so rimfire ranges. But with a larger, high-powered illuminator on the side, I had no problem shooting foxes out to 150, 175 meters, but with excellent visibility beyond 300 meters when required. Other buttons in use here. A long hold on the second button will turn the camera on and off to video proceedings. You can also set it to loop so you never miss a particular video. This can be varied in length as well. The front button changes magnification, which is essentially 6.5 or 12 times. I find both work perfectly well, and it's not too pixelated at the higher magnification, but 6.5 is a great balance for general use. And again, you can set the menu up from turn on so that it comes on at which magnification you would prefer. This button also controls playback, and you can go into the detail of the menu structure, which is far too much for this video. PARD suggests an 8-hour runtime from the onboard 18650 battery, and of course you can have additional batteries and swap them over so you've got spares, although it will also run from the USB port with an external power supply. But if I remove this battery, which actually says on it 18650, and I put that next to a regular 18650 battery, you'll notice they are in fact a different size, and they've also got a different positive terminal on the end, and that battery is longer and it will not fit in there. So when is an 18650 not an 18650? I'm not so sure. Taking this cap on and off is showing quite a lot of silver aluminium dust coming off the threads, so it's not one that I'd want to be removing regularly, and if I did, I'd probably put a little bit of lubricant on the threads. Having said that, the 8-hour runtime does seem quite honest, and it's easy to turn on and off to save the battery. The chances are I'm going to be shooting this off sticks anyway, so let's give it a go. Must remember to press record. We're recording. I've gone with a 53 grain. Gone with a 53 grain Superformance, purely because I've got more of it. Unsurprisingly, slightly. Oi! Illuminator's on. Right, illuminator's off. Illuminator level 1, level 2, level 3. Now that's the PDIR. Well, I'll put the rest of the details in the description box. Have a look on the website, look at the features and functionality. What I will tell you is it generally says what it's going to do, and it actually does do it. The key fact is the onboard illuminator is limited to about 100 meters. The PLRF works in daylight and darkness, and because in darkness it can be harder to estimate distance anyway, so that's especially beneficial. It's a compact unit. It is quite right-handed, I would say, because if I pick that up and use it right-handed, I'm fine there, and off some kind of support I've got easy access to my buttons. But if I swap left-handed, well, I'd be blocking the illuminator and blocking the rangefinder to adjust the focus unless I go completely over the top. So bear that one in mind. Additionally, using the buttons over the top is what it is. Now, in cold conditions with gloves on, you've got to be quite sure of which button you're pressing. Like any night vision or digital unit, thermal unit, you'll get used to the language of which the buttons need, and the sequence in which you need to press things. I've used the scope on a couple of rifles. I've had no problems hearing it. Daylight capability is fantastic. I'd love to put it on an air rifle actually and do some squirrel hunting with it, but I haven't had a chance yet. Rabbits we don't have many of around here. We've got some hares for daylight, but we have got lots of foxes at night, and I've shot some foxes with it. I have enjoyed using it. I've not found it problematic. Initially, using the onboard illuminator, I had to restrict myself and realise that although I tried it in good faith, yes, 100 meters is about the limit. Of course, having the PBR-L model on here has given me, number one, greater range, and number two, greater power at short distance. I've got video pictured at 310 meters, I think, so you'll be able to see, the topography of the land and the conditions on that, although I didn't particularly engage a fox at that distance. Foxes I engaged, the foxes I engaged on those particular nights out were closer distance. I will say the rear eye cup is a little bit prone to steaming up, especially in cold weather, and the longer you spend with your eye glued to the back of it, the more your skin is heating the air inside and making it condense onto the lens. And again, like any night vision unit, air quality has a big effect. We've had some very damp, foggy evenings which have been a little bit more straining on the PARD, but the clear evenings have shown the greatest possibility with it, and I'm very happy with it. The other thing I'll say is if you do put it on an air rifle or a rimfire, it is superb at short distance. And with that very extensive mounting capability on it, with great adjustment for eye relief and position in itself, the eye relief of the scope optically is 45mm, so you certainly don't want to be putting it on something with huge recoil, but the point is you can move that scope to get that 45mm quite easily, and it reaches well onto the rifle. Where that particularly is beneficial on a rimfire and air rifle, which are physically often smaller, means you're not left with this huge unit that completely overwhelms a rifle. Anyway, if you've got any questions, please add them on. We might put some additional videos on too. I've tried to keep this one brief. Please like, subscribe, comment. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.
Hey!